What's up to the 1-2 people up in here? Shit. Ah, damn it. See if I'm on the board. Oh shit. There we go. Damn it. Fuck, ankle is killing me. How the hell y'all doing? Whew. Um, although I'm generally quiet, I'm probably gonna be a little extra quiet. I'm in fucking pain right now. Anybody ever rolled their ankle? Shit. You know, I know some basketball players done it, but damn. Now it's kind of my attention. The old boy's been talking about me again. Oh, what the fuck? He just go ahead and leave me the fuck alone and stop putting everything that he do on me. Shit. I try not to talk about him and give him any publicity, but I'm getting sick of hearing people coming to me, yo, he talking about you again. shit getting old. Starting to think every time he streams, he gotta bring my name up. Now, if I do him like that, I'd be the bad guy. Damn. Fucking hell. I'm guessing I should put some ice on my shit. That's a half an hour long. Oh, hell no. Then we got the rain. I don't know if y'all heard that. Something coming. Let me make sure my fucking phone charged. Know how this works. Y'all talk, I'll talk. That's how this works. Let's see what's going on with this bullshit.
Yeah. I'm in a federal place where I pay federal taxes to be here. And there's no rule. And I have to ask your supervisor about that also. Because while doing that, turn it off. Okay, call your call. So can you tell me what's going on with my mail? Can you tell me what's going on with my mail?
So this mail is not correctly addressed. This is the manual.
What do you mean it's not correctly addressed? Yep.
And it requires a zip code per our manual. And it requires you to put proper postage on it per our manual. So like if you want to do that, if you send your mail,
Who did you check with?
this is the postal domestic manual.
That's the PSDS. And I want to go by
your manual
I want to go by the
qualified. This is the postal.
So there's no longer a general post office. It's street post. Street post. And you know, so you're getting down. You want to know something really sweet? know the answer's heavy one, so why? Did you know the water? No, it's not just. Did you know this is not one rule? Did you know the space? Did you know that? I would like to. I'd like to speak to you.
I am
I'd like to speak to you.
Postmaster's right here.
Go ahead.
This is postal policy.
Okay.
So I can ask you to follow the policy or now leave.
Okay. So what's the rule?
You're required to put proper postage on the mail piece and the
Can we look
zip
up? Can we look up the chapter, the section?
I did. It's not valid.
How's that valid?
It's no longer valid.
As of when?
I'm gonna have to ask you
You need to ask
to
the
follow the
No,
policy.
you work for me.
Turn
You work
off
for
your
me.
phone
You work for
or
me.
leave.
I pay taxes. You work for me. You work for me. I don't work for you. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have you help me and tell me how to do this.
I did.
Okay, when was this statute taken out? Can you tell me that? Just because you don't like the information that's on here.
I said
But
that's
you can
invalid
discriminate against it.
information.
Okay.
Okay?
Right, so what you're doing right now is you're keeping this mail. My father could be sick, and this could be going out to him just at the right time.
I'll accept it with proper postage.
What if I don't
and
have it?
proper
What if I don't
address.
have it? So what you're telling me is nobody else does it. There's just this, it's just your post office.
You will do it. Proper policy is to follow this information that I
Right.
provided.
Right.
So you can follow it, you can address it properly,
Right.
put the postage on it, or you can.
It's just this dude being a fucking nutbag.
You know,
That
always
doesn't
kind of
pertain to
smell
any.
it. It does. Postal services, overseas.
That is my.
But post office is all about that.
Do you want to leave now?
I'm trying to talk to somebody to answer questions about when was this statute.
I answered the
When
question.
was it? What day?
I answered the question, but this is policy,
Right.
so you can follow the postal policy.
Right. Okay, I'm still trying to, I can't really see. I can't realize this right here is like the most faded.
Hey, Purple Keys. How you doing on this
Have you talked to your
fine, warm evening?
Yes.
You talked to your supervisor?
I don't know about over there. It's fucking hot as shit over here.
Has your postmaster, you talked to him today?
This is the postal man.
And it's about to thunderstorm, so it's probably gonna get hotter
We told you to come and leave.
with the humidity.
Follow the policy, yes.
Yeah, you hear my shit going on. I got my shit on high. I'm not playing. I want to frigid in this motherfucker.
Okay.
It's fine that you feel that.
Oh, because you're proper, right? You're going to say supposed to show proper, right? Okay, it's not proper.
I want it so cold the polar bear be comfortable.
Okay, who's taxes please? Where's your salary?
Sir, do you want to talk about the mail piece and how to mail it? Because I provided that information.
Right.
Now it's on you to address it properly and put the postage on it.
Right. You don't want to make something that's waste your imagination.
Would you like to leave now?
I'm trying to think, I can't read this. I can't read that. Can you read this?
No, I can't. I provided everything.
Well, what I'm saying is I have terrible eyesight. I can show you my records.
Well, why are you not wearing glasses when you're driving?
Because I can't afford them. That's what I'm trying to say. So reading this is a whole lot different. So and now you're an eye doctor, you're an attorney, an eye doctor, you cover everything's canceled, a judge, the jury, and everything. Then why are you treating a customer in a way that a customer should be treated?
I'm not treating you any kind of way. I provided
And you sitting there bitching about 25 cents.
When are you supposed to?
He will not be there.
So he's never coming back.
He's on way to the week.
So can you tell me when your postmaster will be back?
Next week.
What day next week will your postmaster be back? Because right now what you're doing is you're impeding me sending my mail. It's your.
I will gladly accept it if you address it properly. And put the correct
I'm not sending it
postage
to
on it.
USPS. I'm not going through border.
Okay, then you can use your building.
But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out what it
This is
says.
the United States Postal Enemy. It's not
Enemy.
what you're trying to do. Yeah, this is the United States Postal Service.
Right. Okay. So you're corporate entity.
So you can, follow the guidelines, the proper postage.
This woman is having way more patience than I probably would have.
No, I think that's really sad.
Why can't you? Why can't you tell me who you spoke to? So you're telling me that the difference in my dad giving this information right here, the difference in my dad giving this information,
whether it was your dad or that
right. So you're allowed to, right? Right.
Properly, with the proper postage.
Go to the United States Postal Service. You have to go to the General Post Office.
And that is no longer any existence.
That's as of when?
Since the 30s.
Since the 30s?
There's been a law. You follow the post office policy, which is
Can you
this
show me that?
policy.
Can you show me that?
I'm not required to show you that. I showed you my documentation here, and now I'm asking.
This lady having way more patience than I would have.
Your mail piece or leave.
I'm trying to sit down. Right. But I'm a customer. I'm trying to figure out how to pay my customer.
And you really don't want to act up in the post office because that's federal.
I don't need to know. Well, I be entertained in my finger. What reason why I be entertained? Because of the service. I got everything on cover. I don't need to get mad. I have a constitutional right. For what? Why am I being detained? So please don't take me on. So what you need is my ID. So you're taking me to jail? I'm not telling you, I got a constitutional right. I haven't done nothing wrong. You told me that I'm being detained. First, you have to ask me to leave to be trespassed. Okay, I'm leaving. Please put your hands on me. Please put your hands on me. Relax, hey. Please put your hands on me. Okay. There's no reason for y'all to put your hands on me.
Yep. So now you going over to jail. You going to jail over mail.
If I'm not arrested, I'm free to leave. If I'm not in the thing, I'm free to leave. Now this is your fault. This is all because of okay? My wrist is turned around backwards on the car. My wrist is strong. No, I don't need that. I have right to listen. This is my constitutional right. I did not give you the right to listen.
And they're going to check you in with constitutional rights. Please hold your sword. Sit on my mail. Sit on everything that I have. Sit on my thing. If I'm not arrested, why am I being detained? No. Go outside. They got your dumb ass just was disturbing the peace.
No, you don't. You not have a right to search me or anything.
And you fucking around on federal property.
That's stuff. I'm so tired. My wrist turned around the wrong way. Why's always saying? Let's never put your hands on me, man. Why always Please call your supervisor. Please call your supervisor. Please call your supervisor. Please call your supervisor. No, my wrist is getting hurt right now, man. Yeah, no doubt, man. Oh, thanks. Thanks for fixing it when you got your hands off now and making a statement from something happened. You got three up behind me. How am I causing a disturbance? So I'm going to cause a disturbance. Is y'all come in and back me up? No, I'm not going to stop yelling. There's nothing against part of that yelling. There's not one thing that says I can't yell or have a vote.
Alright, you know he ain't all there, right? He talking about having a moose.
What am I being detained for? She don't want to be trespassed, then she has to tell me to leave. I left whatever you told me to. She said they're trying to take me. Okay. Okay. If you want to listen, whatever you told me to leave. I was trying to go. I was trying to go. Okay. All right. Okay. They can ask me to do whatever they want to ask me. You can ask me to do whatever you want to ask me. You're not supposed to put cuffs on me for no reason. Get out.
Hey, keep believing that bullshit that they feeding y'all. Hey, we'll check your ass in.
Okay, I got a little video, so it's all about your house.
Oh, you forgot to say spoiler alert.
I'm handcuffed right now, man.
I could kind of care less because I already can see that they fucked up the story anyway. Even if that's true.
I've got it. I'm missing eardrum for a while. Okay? I'm missing eardrum. When I'm trying to pull away from you, I'm missing eardrum. I'm down good. So how am I going to talk? How am I going to get you to talk? Come on, pissed off.
Because first of all, he's a villain. Always been a villain. Always should be a villain. But now he a good guy? Yeah, no, I'm not buying it. I don't even care if he halfway a good guy. No, I'm not buying it.
I pay your salary. You're my servant. You're my fucking servant.
Yeah, they get ready to put you in the spot where you got a spot for your ass.
Now I've lost circulation in my hands. Please go to church. Don't tell me why I'm here today.
This is why I don't like how they fucked up Venom. Venom was supposed to be a villain, always a villain. Now they want to try to make him like a half-assed good guy.
Why do you have me in the first place?
Villains are supposed to be villains and always supposed to stay villains. I can't see, although, yeah, at one point Magneto did turn good. It wasn't until he was dumbass old.
We're going to be at Pine Elementary.
Because you're a little power-hungry dude. You put your hands on me and put cuffs on me for way that you should. And you got yours. I'm deaf, all right?
Really, he's deaf. First he was hard. His vision was fucked up. Now he's deaf. He's got all kinds of problems going on.
You said if I don't shut up, you'll show me that fucking car? You better call for backup. You ain't waiting with that.
Are you a supervisor?
I promise you that. No, my name's not Bill. I don't answer questions.
So you want Ethan?
You work for me. I don't answer questions.
Yeah.
You know that the more I'm in touch, the more you can be in trouble. You know you're like why?
Sorry, 3409, 3409, that's all for you.
What's that? That piece of paper right there. See that faded out thing when you're in the door? Yeah, see it. Okay, so you told you couldn't use it. That's the UPS. That is that's the United Postal Service. Okay. And I'm trying to use a general post office, which if I don't send it in a previous state, then I should be able to post anything.
Yeah, well, ain't no such thing as general post offices anymore.
Instead of her being mean and talking to me nicely, she goes, y'all come in here, behind me and throw cups on me? And then you tell me to throw me in a car? No, I'm getting detained. So, now charges on me. Let's do it. Let's do it. No, you have to have proper cuffs on me. No, we just need can't put cuffs on me for being suspicious. You better go back and check your laws, man. What's that?
They actually being kind of nice to him.
Right now. You're reading my mail. You just got to read my
Some
mail.
city cops, man, look, hey, they ain't got all the time to be talking to you. Just check your ass in and let the judge sort it out.
Get your hands off me. I can't. There's a kid moving around. I'm allowed to move. No, you're not. Don't ask me.
Ah, my fucking ankle. So nobody ain't got nothing to say. There's only one person there.
So who do you think you are? You know, I stood up for guys like you when I was in high school. Now you got the power and you want to like put your hands on people, push on people, shove on people. For no right, you have no right. You're outside of my wrist, or you not see my wrist, my hands pretty cold. No, it's the same color. Alright.
Alright, this is too long. You going to jail and it is what it is. You can't show that. Can't show none of that. That just looks fucking dumb. Alright, this could be interesting.
One day I was with Judy. We were about 2 kilometers away from the den. She had 5 tiny cubs.
I like wildlife shit like this.
And Savannah was keeping guard over those cubs. Lions have an auntie system. One lioness will hunt, another will look after cubs. Savannah's doing exactly that. While Judy was away, Savannah was guarding the cubs. And one strayed from the den, she started to call to Judy. Suddenly we heard Savannah roaring, and Judy immediately turned around and at a fast pace went straight back to the den. When we arrived there, 2 little cubs had strayed from the den and they were right in the open, extremely vulnerable. Julie immediately picked up the one cub in her mouth and carried it back to the den. Lioness Savannah did exactly the same thing. And I got this unique shot of a lioness carrying a tiny cub in her jaws. The lioness with the tiger cub in its mouth. So she's playing the role of auntie. It's different from the tiger system. The tigress raises cubs on her own. Judy effectively now has Savannah helping her raise 5 cubs. And although she's inexperienced, she's learning the tricks of handling cubs from Judy, and that'll stand her.
That's new. That's something different you ain't know. You got lions helping to raise tigers?
It remains a mystery to this day. How did Savannah give the roar indicating there was a problem at the den? And how did Tigress Judy understand that roar? Tigers will roar, but it's a very
There's some very interesting shit right
roar
here.
from a lion. Tigers do more chuffing in the short range. They communicate a lot in the short distance. Lions roar across the grasslands because they're big social cats. In Savannah, raised by Judy, over a period of 3 years, apparently these two great cats were able to communicate with each other.
Some interesting shit right there.
Savannah born in darkness, confined in my wire cages.
Alright, they fucked it up.
Some of the chance of freedom by your tigress and her colors. Freedom calls, freedom.
Alright, hell no. Y'all just, come on now. Alright. I learned some shit right there real quick, but then y'all fucked it up. Hey, let's see what this is about.
That's a car, and this is Drive Shop, where you have a 99% chance of getting approved. It's easy. So grab your phone, go to drivetime.com, apply in 2 minutes, and...
I got approved!
See?
That was easy.
Go to drivetime.com, shop thousands of cars, and see your real down payment all on your phone. Easy.
We should fight one another for the honor of leadership.
Not necessarily.
Everybody knows who's in charge.
Me.
Yes, you. Of course. Of course.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. This is going to be my video for Thor 4 in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, or as Guardians of the Galaxy as we should call it, unofficially Thor 4. We know a little bit about the plot and the characters of the movie and the story arc, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all of the Marvel videos. We're also doing a new round of that IMAX ticket giveaway, like we have the new cut of Avengers Endgame hitting theaters and Spider-Man Far From Home. You can use the tickets for any movie that you want. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Thor or Spider-Man comment on the video. I'll name a new winner at the end of this. So we just broke this down top 7 style, starting with Rocket. Supposedly the movie is going to be dealing with his backstory. James Gunn said that he identifies with Rocket most as a character, and at one time when he was doing Guardians 2, he thought about doing a Rocket Groot spin-off, if he was ever going to do a spin-off of any of the Guardians characters. So it makes sense that they would deal with a lot of Rocket's backstory in one of these films. But supposedly, the person who created him in the MCU will be the High Evolutionary, who's a really weird and super deep-cut Avengers villain from the comics. The Guardians films pride themselves trading on really weird characters inside the MCU. Talking raccoon, talking trees, so the High Evolutionary is not a big leap for them to make during the film.
Impressive. You're far more vibrant than my usual subjects.
I'll show you vibrant red.
You will address me as the High Evolutionary.
Thanos' rock. Forget it. Do your worst. We ain't telling you squat.
I am no torturer. I am an artist.
Terrible fathers are also a running theme through all of the films. Gamora's terrible dad in the first film is Thanos. Peter Quill's terrible dad, Ego the Living Planet, is the villain of the second film. It would make sense that another terrible dad would be one of the villains of the third film, and it just so happens to be Rocket's creator. If you're not really familiar with Rocket's backstory in the Marvel comics, he was actually from Half-World, but you also saw that during the lineup during the first Guardians film where you see he's from Half-World, but they don't really get into his backstory. It was a planet in the universe where a bunch of alien humanoids, they built a planet to be an insane asylum to watch and treat, study a bunch of people. They wound up leaving, but they left behind a race of robots to care for all of the insane people on the planet. A nearby explosion on a star created all this radiation. The robots gained sentience, then they themselves started experimenting and upgrading the animals that had been left behind as companions for the formerly insane humans that the planet had been originally created for. It's a really weird story. Obviously, the High Evolutionary isn't part of the comic book version of that, so they're already changing some of Rocket's comic book backstory. So don't worry too much about that right now. 6, they're supposed to use the Rocket backstory plot with the High Evolutionary to introduce the Lila character from the comics. She's a talking otter in the way that Rocket is a talking raccoon. She's supposed to be his soulmate, and she's the heir to one of the largest companies on their home world. There was a story in the comics where they saved all the creations on their
This was good.
flew away together on a spaceship to live out their lives. So maybe Rocket winds up getting...
So they're just watching some YouTube videos.
At the end of the film, the team's roster is going to cycle anyway if they continue as a group within the...
How the hell are you doing?
Regardless of whether or not they do Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4. With number 5, Drax is supposed to learn that his daughter...
There ain't nothing you can do but chill in this motherfucking heat.
Reuniting with her.
This shit is fucking ridiculous.
So maybe he also leads the Guardians team at the end of the film. Because Batista is getting up there in age, and just like Hugh Jackman said that it was just spine-crushing to stay in shape, to play the Wolverine character. It's the same deal for Dave Batista playing Drax. It is really, really hard for him to stay in that good a shape. The physical toll that it takes on his body just performing as the character. If you've ever heard the nightmare that it is to get into Drax makeup and then out of Drax makeup, you would also assume that in relative short order, Drax would get his happy ending and sort of ride off into the sunset. So I don't expect him to stay on the Guardians team forever.
Come on.
He's always out known as a makeup regime.
You got spoiler alert.
Does a sauna and shaving cream?
Yeah, it does. So that's the remove. So, yeah, the great part about it is it goes on very fast, about an hour and a half, which was great for me. The first one was like 4 to 6 hours. The bad part is that it's very abrasive. It's like glue. So to get it off, I had to sit in a sauna for about an hour. And so what we do is first they rub shaving cream all over me because it helps to loosen up the makeup. It's really awful. We've gotten some strange looks, but so I got my team. They rub shaving cream all over me. And I get in the sauna for about 20 minutes by myself, and then about 3 guys join me, and they start scrubbing it.
Remember, the only reason he joined the Guardians in the first film was to kill Thanos as revenge for Thanos killing his family, and as the end of Avengers...
He was going to do what anyway? Oh, spoiler alert?
Goal 1 achieved, and 2, if his daughter were still alive, it would really complete his arc. The story about him getting out of costume, though, is insane, so obviously it takes a long time to put the Drax makeup on before, while looking for the younger Gamora from 2014. Remember, Peter Quill's trying to track her down as the end of Avengers Endgame. Nebula chills out even more and grows closer with
I do Godzilla. I'm done. Watch damn every night.
Guardians films. She starts out as a
download Spider-Man.
Person, betrays Thanos,
download
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Joins the Guardians of the Galaxy because they need each other's help to prevent the Power Stone from falling into Thanos' hands. Then by the second film, she's officially part of the family and even acting like
now is this good quality?
Peter Quill, all the while trying to get her sister.
You know I'm 4K spoiled now, so this is at least good quality.
I will buy worship with every conceivable instrument of death. I will hunt my father like a dog, and I will tear him apart slowly, piece by piece, until he knows some semblance of the profound and unceasing pain I know every single day.
This time it would be Nebula as the cool kid chasing after angrier Gamora to try and get her to chill out and join the family. I was a huge fan of the brief Iron Man and Nebula scenes that we got during Avengers Endgame. Karen Gillan is awesome as that character, so no idea if Nebula and Gamora would leave the team at the end of the movie. Maybe Nebula stays on, because I think that Karen Gillan really enjoys playing that character, and I think that they've found easier ways to get her into makeup, so it's not quite as brutal as, say, like Drax's makeup. 3, Thor is supposed to be part of the movie as Guardians of the Galaxy, as implied by this ending scene from Avengers Endgame. But the way Dave Batista talked about Chris Hemsworth recently makes me wonder how much of the movie he's supposed to be part of. Because remember, James Gunn turned in his final script for the movie a couple years ago, before that big debacle happened, before we knew anything about what was going on during Avengers Endgame and where they were taking the Thor character. So Dave Batista recently said, I would love to have Chris Hemsworth as Thor in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So I'm like, wait a minute, is Thor actually in the original version of the movie that James Gunn wrote, or are they changing things? Are they adding
the powers that be are global liberal capitalists?
Galaxy, that maybe he's not a huge part of the film, he's just a small part, or they'll at least reference what's going on.
Since I don't like talking politics or religion, I mean, you might want to find another string.
Whatever Thor 4 is going to be once they eventually make that movie. 2, this is really cool. Supposedly the movie is finally going to do a version of Beta Ray Bill, who we last saw as an Easter egg during Thor Ragnarok. He was actually originally in a cut of that film, but they took him out at the last minute. So he is a character in the MCU. He does exist, and he's still alive. No idea what the future of Beta Ray Bill within the Thor franchise is going to be, or if Beta Ray Bill would become a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, just because those films trade on weird characters so much, and Beta Ray Bill is one of the weirdest characters that they would have ever done so far. I think if he continues as a character in the MCU and Thor 4 and whatever other space-based films, it just depends on how much people like the character during Guardians 3. It is always possible he could wind up being another deleted scene too. So my Beta Ray Bill expectations are actually pretty low, but he's a member of the Corbinite race in the comics. He was originally introduced by Walt Simonson to be the first non-Asgardian Thor character to be deemed worthy enough to lift Thor's hammer. That was the whole idea. Somebody else who could finally lift Thor's hammer.
So radical, horrible.
After he does, Odin winds up forging him his own hammer that has similar powers to Mjolnir, and he just goes off on his adventures with Thor, showing up every once in a while. The hammer itself is called Stormbreaker, so because Thor's new axe hammer in the MCU is called Stormbreaker, maybe they'll have some fun with that idea. The Thor Ragnarok Beta Ray Bill deleted scenes were just him fighting in the arena, Planet Hulk style. Remember, his face was on the side of the Grandmaster's Tower, meaning that he's one of the previous champions of the Contest of Champions. Kevin Feige said that they did a lot of previous
that much of fucking
right up to
attention.
the end, but they just felt like there was too much going on, so they just wound up cutting him out so that they could introduce him in a much bigger way in another Marvel movie, rather than worry that they do him a disservice as a character by only just briefly showing him on screen and that's it, not really explaining anything about the character. So even though he was in the movie for a long time, he wasn't ever going to be a really big part of it. In number 1, of course, the movie is supposed to introduce Adam Warlock. We all saw that during the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 post-credit scene. First as a villain, because he's being created by the Sovereign, who are villains to the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then eventually their ally. Because even if you're not an expert on Adam Warlock comics, you probably know that he's mostly a good character in the comics. But you can see how introducing him as a villain and antagonist to the Guardians at first is a way to reference this mage's persona from the comics. There's rumors that it's supposed to be Zac Efron. I don't totally believe that, but they probably have someone in mind, because originally they were supposed to start shooting Guardians 3 this past January, before that big debacle happened, so they would have had to have already been talking to people about playing the character, but with the delay, it's not coming till 2022 now, they could continue the search. And as much as everyone is thinking about Keanu Reeves as Adam Warlock, I don't think that that's what they're talking to Keanu Reeves about.
You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
They've been talking to Keanu Reeves about playing a character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Kevin Feige said that they've talked to Keanu Reeves every year about every single Marvel movie they've ever made to try and find something for him to do, because he's so fantastic and right now he's blowing up. Of course, they want to get him in the MCU somewhere.
Huh. Oh yeah. Huh. Huh. Yes. Hold on. One more. Oh, yeah.
I think he would make an amazing Adam Warlock, but I don't think that they're going for him. It's just the idea that Adam Warlock is a very spiritual character, but because of the spiritual characters that Keanu Reeves is known for playing, you can understand how people would be theory crafting that maybe Adam Warlock is the character that he's up for. Possible outcome for the Guardians at the end of the movie, though, is that a new roster forms around either Thor or permanent as Guardians of the Galaxy in Thor 4, or maybe Thor leaves at the end and Adam Warlock winds up forming a new team of Guardians. Presumably Teenage Groot would finally grow to become full-size adult Groot again. His race doesn't age like normal humanoids. He can grow to full size anytime he wants. He just needs the sustenance to give himself energy for the change. So I would expect that the Guardians as a team will continue on, but the roster will be very different. They've been talking about doing a Nova film during Marvel Phase 4. It's always possible that they use the Guardians movies to spin that character out, unless it's going to be some big prequel movie. It's a little too early to start introducing Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Galactus characters, but Silver Surfer would be an awesome Thor 4 crossover, so hopefully they'll find some way in the next couple of movies to introduce that character. There'll be a whole bunch more Marvel stuff happening next week. I'll do a post-credit scene video for the new cut of Avengers Endgame, and obviously I'll be doing Spider-Man videos all week long. Leave your requests in the comments below. Congratulations, Anthony Jordan. You're the giveaway winner for my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. Click here for my new Avengers Endgame post-credit scene video, and click here for that.
Okay, well, thank you for that little bit of that tad bit of information. No problem. Alright, let's see what the hell they talking about.
Hey everyone, massive July 4th sale, 20% off the entire site until July 10th. So here's a theory that I have, and it didn't really occur to me until I said it publicly in that Rule of Two interview that I had a few weeks ago on Collider. So for those of you who saw it and have been asking for me to continue this theory and make a video on its own for it, thanks for waiting, and sorry it took so long. Rey's parents, we've all been wondering for about 4 years now since The Force Awakens came out. Yeah, I know, it's been that long. Is she a Skywalker? Is she a Kenobi? Is she a Palpatine? Is she coming from drunk scavenger parents like Kylo kind of said? A Solo, perhaps? Or is she just a girl that portrays that everyone can use the Force, and that it's not just for one selected person, like the broom boy in The Last Jedi? While many, including myself, have thought to believe that she's maybe a Skywalker or a Kenobi, as we hear Obi-Wan speaking directly to her when she touched the Skywalker lightsaber, I have another theory. What if the searching is unnecessary at this point? What if the answer we've been looking for is right in front of us, but we've been too busy trying to solve the riddle, thinking it's a difficult Rubik's Cube that needs solving. Maybe it doesn't. What if the answer that we wanted was given to us in Episode 8? When Rey fell into the dark side cave, we had some homage paid to the dark side tree cave on Dagobah with Yoda from Episode 5. Yoda told Luke to be cautious when he goes in there, as he can only expect to find that which he takes with him. Luke walks in and found himself fighting Vader, only to behead him and find that the mask exploded, revealing his face. This was basically symbolizing his fear of turning to the dark side himself. His fear of becoming what he swore to destroy. His fear of himself. That's why Vader's head turned into his face when the mask was revealed. Rey's experience in the cave was different. She wanted to know who her parents are. Once we saw her observing literal thousands of versions of herself, we knew something was up. When she touched the mirror, we ended up on the other side of it, as we can see. We can see this because we have to look at the very first Rey who moves to conclude that that's the original Rey, or at least the Rey that we've been following in the story. As she snapped her fingers, they all snapped, but not in unison, with a time delay. A normal mirror wouldn't do that. The snap would be instantaneous. Rey, in my opinion, was looking at all her former versions of herself. I think she was a clone. There were literally tens of thousands of them. I believe they took inspiration from the Force Unleashed game and used this plot to create Rey. Now in the game, it was next to impossible to create a Force-sensitive clone in the second one, and it required thousands of failed attempts. We can see Vader walking into the chamber of different clones being made, and the ones that didn't make the cut or weren't Force sensitive basically were just discarded until the right one was formed. Only the Empire could do something so callous and so evil, which they did in the old Legends games. So it's possible, I mean, I could be completely wrong here, but it's possible that this theory could be true. As she looks at the mirror on the wall, or of the cave, she sees two people come together. Now this is where things get really weird, and I need you to stick with me. The shadows, to me, look like Chewie and Han. Now that's not indicating that they're her parents, but maybe that they raised her, or took care of her. Or maybe that's all she knows as parental figures. Maybe that's what she wants. I'm really not sure what to expect. I mean, the arms on the left figure go down to the mid-thigh, or even below. This doesn't really look like a normal human if we compare it to the right one, especially. And then let's look at its neck. It looks like a massive Wookiee, especially the way it walks, and in comparison to the person next to it, which looks like someone walking with a holster or a lightsaber on their right-hand side, as their arm comes around it, or folds onto it. Now, the only other possible explanation is that it's Vader and Luke, but I mean, they would have to blend in the helmet so perfectly into the shoulders, which that's kind of what it looks like they did, because everyone knows Vader's shadow. So I'm thinking that maybe she's a clone from both maybe Anakin and Luke, or she's just been cared for by Han Solo and Chewie. I mean, that would be a massive trick. Could you guys imagine Anakin formed into one clone? Either way, if she is a clone, then who was the original template from? It would make sense that the cloning facility was used by the person who organized it all together, Palpatine himself. it wouldn't really make sense for him to use that technology and facility for just creating troops. I mean, I'm sure there were many classified operations undergoing on Kamino, or some type of lab somewhere else. Perhaps the lab Palpatine oversaw on Jakku, since we know that he did have one built there before the Phantom Menace, which is canon info. What the lab did, for all we know, could have had a separate sector for classified things like cloning. Now, also in the Aftermath novels, there were these dark acolytes. These guys were looking for Vader's lightsaber, so it could be that they were kind of doing some sort of scavenger hunt for Palpatine after his death. And one of the things that they were doing was upholding the cloning facility and creating some sort of mega force user. I don't know. So could it mean that she's a Solo, or that she's someone that was taken into the care of Chewie and Han? And when times got hairy, no pun intended, she was put on Jakku. How else might Han know of Unchar's blood? I mean, it's possible he might just know of him.
The latest, Mr. B, check out Emmett.
Up on Jakku eventually, in Unchar's hands. Plot armor, of course.
Caroline, when you have time.
I believe with Star Wars, there should be a lot of thought going into the story, so that things all make sense once they're put together when Episode 9 is done. And I know I'm getting a lot of eye rolling from that comment, but come on, I hope they really thought of everything here. So if Rey is a clone, that means that someone did this to her. I believe only the Empire, or the remnants of it, would do something like this. Maybe from Luke's hand, or maybe they have taken Kylo and cloned him to create his perfect counterpart. His equal in the Force, but in the light side, just as Snoke was saying. In an interview, Daisy Ridley said that it's super obvious who her parents are just by watching Episode 7. I think it's safe to say that we get the vibe that Han knows Rey, and he wants to hire her on the spot, to stick with him. Why? That's not really in Han's behavior. I think he and Chewie must have raised her, those shadows look way too close to being them than maybe anyone else. And again, could be wrong, it's just a theory, but stuff is just kind of making sense. If that's the case, then where did she come from? A clone has to come from somewhere, just like all the clones came from Jango. So what was her lineage? Imagine if she's some sort of hybrid of Palpatine or Anakin, and Luke from Luke's severed hand, the perfect Force entity, ultimately powerful, just not knowing how to tame that power. That would make sense as to how she could tap into the Force so easily when she fought Kylo for the first time. In George Lucas's original Episode 7, 8, and 9 script, he had a girl named Kira, who is now Rey, I believe. She was the sister of Kylo, or, Ben Solo. So they could just be pulling from all different parts of Legends and forming one story to bind it all together. Also, though apparently George wanted to bring Palpatine back too, so I guess we're gonna have to wait and see how this all happens. Now, I believe, as I've said many times before, it'll be through essence transfer, and Palpatine will return by entering the vessel of an able young acolyte of the dark side, someone powerful and able to take his full strength, as the wrong host wouldn't be able to handle it and would probably die. This is also the reason that I think maybe Palpatine wanted to train Anakin so much, and he was so disappointed when Anakin failed to Obi-Wan and basically lost a lot of his Force powers, because then once Palpatine would transfer his essence, it would never be living up to, its full potential. Now, something else that really stayed to be immortal. The ability and power resided under his castle in another castle, which required a key. He had possession of this key, but the only way to enter it was if you were a direct descendant of Lady Corvax. And Lady Corvax basically, I've made tons of videos on this, you guys can go watch those, but she was basically this person who lived on Mustafar back when it was a lush green planet, and she used this orb of light, which could bring back the dead after her husband died. But once he died, she tried to use it, and it ended up destroying the planet and turning Mustafar into the lava planet that we know today. So is it possible that Palpatine might be using this knowledge to come back as well? Or maybe Rey is a direct descendant of Lady Corvax? Now, something else I want to make a video on is that Snoke actually had another apprentice, and this was mentioned in canon. So where is this guy? Why was he mentioned in the books and just never shown up in the movie? So maybe he's going to be the one that Palpatine actually transfers his essence into. I don't really know. There are lots of things to ponder from this video, so let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think Rey is a clone of someone, or do you disagree entirely? Why was she jumped on Jakku? Why do the shadows look like Chewie and Han? Or maybe they look like someone else, like Vader and Luke put together. If we also notice something, her attack movements against Kylo in The Force Awakens were very similar to that of Palpatine versus Mace. She does a lot of the same jabbing motions that Palpatine was doing. Could she be a descendant of Palpatine, or a clone of him of some sorts? Now, to circle back and basically talk about those people in The Last Jedi who think that Kylo really was serious in telling the truth about Rey's parentage, that they were just drunkers and nobodies. I think that was part of Kylo's plan. He was basically just saying that to Rey to make her really not care about her lineage and to let it go forever. That way she would have nothing to hold on to, and she would join him in galactic domination. So the fact that he was lying, which I'm pretty sure he was, just proves to me that her lineage is actually very important. That all being said, I'm very open to whatever lineage she has or comes from, and I guess we'll have to wait and see until episode 9 comes out. There are a ton of different theories that I got cooking up here, so I need you guys to let me know which ones you want me to cover, what you think could really be happening here, and I think.
Alright, let's see what's going on here tonight. Somebody get the fuck up off here. We're gonna find something really boring to watch. Find a movie or something. Take me some fucking painkillers because my ankle is killing me. So, I've been on here an hour. Thanks to everybody that came through. I'm out. I may stream tomorrow. I may not. Who knows? It depends on how I feel. But I'm out.